to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Limiting government, folks. That's what we got to do. It's what we got to do. And we've been trying hard to do it for a while, but we're not trying hard enough. And not enough of us are trying hard. Maybe that's how it works. How are you? Have you had a reasonably good day today? I've had not a bad day today. Let's put it that way. In fact, Christmas sort of turned up. I went to the post office. I was expecting 2 parcels and got 9. The really significant things that turned up in them we'll get to shortly. But say hello to a few people first in the house tonight. The lovely Rachel in Taswegialand. Hump day it is indeed. And God love it. We're on the downhill run. G'day, Andrew. Nice to have you in. The lovely Aussie Sue, as always. Daniel, who's getting a second motor for his scooter. God help us. I mean, you got the roads in Canberra for it, I suppose. But a second motor? Going to be dragging off the Mustangs at the lights. Spazza, hope you're doing all right, brother. G'day, Connie. Lovely to hear from you. In fact, you might hear from me in the next day or two. I think there's half a chance I might be coming up to Brisbane and certainly out your way a little bit. So maybe we can catch up. Now that's going to be Friday at this stage. And it's because my daughter rang me today and asked me to go for dinner with her. Don't know why. Just she wants to spend some time with her dad. So she also wants to go and play mini golf, or a putt-putt kind of thing. So we'll have to wait and see. Friday night's show could be a little interesting. Vince might have to panel that one as I'm putting my way around a putt-putt at a pub. Could be a bit of fun. Anyway, we'll try and figure that one out before Friday, and Connie might be around on Friday for you and Alan, and I'll pop past and say hello. The lovely Sharon is in the house. G'day, Stu. Hope you're doing all right. Katrina, have I sped past a few? I have. Margot. Also, Margie Sedgman, who has moved from SCU, the Sunshine Coast University Hospital, to a different one in Budrum now and is recovering after her operation. They've spent a lot of time trying to put her arm back together and pin it and associated other bits. And as you'd appreciate with the cancer problems that she's got in her arm, it's a real problem. She's not feeling any pain at the moment, but the arm is not what you'd call being terribly useful. But you would expect that just this short after surgery, unless you've had a little surgery like mine, which doesn't really hurt. Margot, you've got the grandchildren here. How good. It's a bit cold at the moment in Gippsland. Well, I bet it is. And the kids from Queensland will be feeling that, no doubt. But in Gippsland, you'll no doubt be able to go down and buy warm clothes that they wouldn't be able to get access to here too much. Mr. Bill has a little tip if we hate the ATO as much as he does. And I suggest that there'll be more than one of us who has that same and similar feeling. Hello, Angie. You finally got a house. This is great news. Look at the shittiest, broken down everything. No garage, clothesline, no trees, barren. Didn't get it. Wow. Well, I've got to say I had the similar experience, and this is going back a couple of years ago on the Sunshine Coast. Laura and I looked at a 2-bedroom place that, I shit you not, could have been a pillar box out of the war. It was entirely made out of Besser brick. I don't know how many people had been murdered in it before us, but they didn't bother washing the walls or the floors terribly much. It was just beyond awful. And they wanted, at the time, $400 a week for it. And I want to say that now it's probably closer to $800 if you're looking for a place on the Sunshine Coast, if the council hadn't found that one and put it out of its misery yet. And God knows the council are pretty good at doing those sorts of things. Aussie Sue, I've seen some photos of you on your, well, I don't know how recent it was, trip. You've been to some places, woman. Got around. And looks like you enjoyed it every step of the way. Good on you. Some of those places that you went to, I'm very envious. Very envious. G'day, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Not getting any notification. Tried unsubscribing and resubbing. No avail. Well, I don't know, Paul. Maybe YouTube just doesn't like you. Tonight, I didn't get the show put together until after 6 o'clock. So I don't know whether or not it needs 45 minutes or more than 45 minutes to get it together for a notification. Would have thought the notifications come up when it posts the show. But I don't know if anybody else got a notification or didn't. Can you let us know? Interesting to note. And Vince was telling me earlier today that we have had a letter from YouTube. Well, not necessarily us, but there is a letter from YouTube that's out saying that many of the presenters who had their channels cut off, taken off them during the spicy flu period for things like medical misinformation, are having those channels returned to them. I find that rather interesting. I'm not sure if that will also equate to the Aussie Cossack, who had an extremely successful channel. I think he had 156,000+ subscribers, and overnight they pulled the pin on him.
When you come to Sydney, mate, just know this is the Aussie Cossacks' backyard.
They didn't care, pulled the pin on him regardless, and that was a huge income stream for him. Of course, we now know he's gone out and found many other ways to make an income out of it.
And what a clustered fuck this is.
And it continues. What can we say? All right, let's get into the fun part of the evening. I found it. There's been so much news about Albanese and Trump that most people missed out that they sort of brushed past each other on a morning walk through Central Park in New York City. There was a picture taken. Hey, what's your name? What? Says Elbow. Trump says, what's your name? Anthony Albanese. Fuck you, Anthony. I think that's great. And there's been a lot of anti-Elbow sentiment coming out off a fake Donald Trump account, can I point out. Anthony Albanese, the Australian Prime Minister, is a weak leader. I will not meet with him. Go home, loser. Australia can send over Pauline Hanson and I'll meet with her. Pauline loves Australia and Australians. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't know who's coming up with them, but they come up with them very well. Here's another one. I particularly like this. If a sniveling little communist twerp who grew up in public housing and has never earned his own money thinks he can come over to my country and shit in the faces of true patriots by rewarding terrorists with a fake country on the day of Charlie Kirk's memorial and expect that I'll give him the time of day is not only an idiot, but also retarded beyond Forrest Gump. I love Australia, and it pains me to see the once beautiful country and free country turned into a Middle Eastern shithole funded by far-left activists like your woke and cowardly Prime Minister. Mr. Albanese can wait in line, and after my round of golf tomorrow, if I have the time, I'll tell him to his face what an utter fuck-up of a person he is. Thank you for your attention to this matter. How true is the sentiment, at least, in all of that? No truth to the fact that Trump's actually tweeted that or put that out on Truth Social. Please don't be confused. But it is very, very honest, and it's certainly how the Australian people, I think Albanese should be treated. Trump did turn up at the UN, and he had a few things to say. Just in summary, your countries all suck. None of you know what you're doing. The US is better at everything, and it's all because of me. I'm right about everything. You should listen to me and do what I say and give me lots of awards. Now, I'm not completely sure if that's entirely what Donald Trump had to say. He did have a bit to say about the climate.
UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world. But then it started getting cooler. So now they could just call it climate change because that way they can't miss. It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything.
Trump was right about everything. Well, he certainly wasn't wrong about the vast majority, but there have been some pretty severe changes into what we thought Trump was going to deliver and what has been delivered. Now, Charlie Kirk's death notwithstanding, there are some very big surprises that have come from the Trump camp, including the way that Trump seems to be hell-bent on separating Gaza from what inhabitants remain and then building Gaza in conjunction with the Israelis into something magnificent, something wonderful. Not really telling us where he plans on moving everybody in Gaza, all the Palestinians in Gaza. They're going to be moved to a beautiful, wonderful place. It'll be beautiful. It'll be really nice. They'll love to go there. I think I'm sort of paraphrasing Donald Trump there, but a lot of the world doesn't want that to happen. A lot of the world. And in Italy at the moment, there are riots in the streets in Milan and a few other places against the Israeli nation, shall we say, and their stance on Palestine. There is obviously a very militant union in the Italian landscape that controls all the shipping into and out of Italy. And of course, a lot of the shipping out of Italy goes into these places, Israel particularly. And they're threatening to stop everything going into and coming out of Israel. So will this make any difference? I don't think so. Benjamin Netanyahu is hell-bent on doing what he is going to do, and that is remove every last living thing or just making Gaza totally uninhabitable. And then, if rumors are to be believed, they're planning on moving to the West Bank and doing exactly the same thing there. Israel are very clear they're going to be moving in. So climate change notwithstanding, Trump might be coming out and saying a few good things at the UN, and he is telling many countries that they are doing the wrong thing. In fact, he spoke at the UN and said, "You're all shit. You've got to do a better job." And there was one president from another country who came out in support. Who knew it would be from Slovenia?
If we, the leaders of this planet, can offer nothing but terror, conflict, pollution, fear, inequalities, and war to 8 billion people, then we must confront the truth. We are complicit in crimes against our civilization and our planet. And not just us, heads of states, but leaders of international institutions, CEOs, and every individual with the power to make a difference share this responsibility. None of us can claim ignorance of what is at stake. If we believe in human dignity for all, we must deliver more. A world that fulfills lives, not threatens them. We must say yes to inclusive multilateralism and a resounding no to multipolarism. Let us show that this General Assembly can and will make a difference, as it has often done before. Let us demonstrate that we reject arrogance, hatred, and willful blindness to a lack of equality and justice, to wars of aggression, crimes against humanity, and genocide, because they tear us apart for generations.
Well, I didn't hear anything about corruption, unfortunately, and that's really what the UN is known for, their parties and their corruption. However, movement at the station. Well, no, not necessarily movement, just a bit of words, maybe some walking around in the stalls, but I don't know that there's too much movement. The UN is one of those immovable objects, I fear, and you will either play it their way or life will be made extremely difficult for you, as is being made extremely difficult for our farmers across Australia and around the world right now to eke out a living. If it isn't due to the climate change and the dimming or the flooding or the droughts or the anything else that they induce, the cyclones, the tornadoes, the cyclones that happen in areas that hitherto have never had cyclones. Oh, that's climate change. Bullshit, that's climate engineering. And we are very, very aware of climate engineering. Of course, these salivating buffoons can't wait to get their hands on the money that comes with subsidizing shit like this. Now, this looks all right by itself, doesn't it? I mean, they've had to carve the top off that beautiful piece of Australian wilderness so they can get a truck up there and flatten out however many acres it is and pour a shitload of cement into the top of that hill so that they can build that ugly fan. Well, if you're going to do it to one, why wouldn't you do it to them all? Now, this is a development that's happening in Northern Australia, and it doesn't end there, unfortunately. It's actually a huge property, and they're preparing those beautiful beds for what you can see there in the background, a sea, an absolute sea of solar. Now, bear in mind, folks, dimming is real. They're admitting it. They've been admitting it. Have admitted they've been doing it for some time, and they are successful at it. How often do we now look in the skies and see lines in the sky and say, "Oh, it's going to rain tomorrow"? It's as natural as looking up and checking what the sun's doing at dawn and at dusk. You've got a bit of an idea, judging by the color of the sky, what's coming the next day. Well, you're used to it at any rate. That's probably not the case anymore. These days, if they've done their job right, you won't be seeing the sun set because they will have sprayed and all of that will have spread and be mixing in the atmosphere, and it'll all look very cloudy and bullshitty until such time as they introduce their little beams from their different HARP installations here in Australia and around the world, of course, and then they start energizing whatever it is they've sprayed into our atmosphere and start heating it up, letting it cool down, heating it up, letting it cool down. And every time it goes up and comes down, it gains more energy, more strength, more power. And they can bounce it between these stations where they can fluff this thing up, make it absolutely huge, and then they can direct it pretty much to wherever they want it to go. All done with the approval of buffoons like this fella and this piece of shit, who I honestly saw an interview with him or a presser the other day. He doesn't do interviews anymore, I don't think. But he did a press conference the other day where he was just torn apart on one single question by the journalist. He didn't have an answer for it and looked like a complete tool, but has the front of mire. He wasn't embarrassed in any way, shape, or form, just kept on ploughing on. Utter bastards. Folks, we've got to do something about this government. They are driving us into oblivion. Oblivion. Now, if it's not mass immigration and the way they're fanning that and fudging the numbers so that they don't have to tell the Australian people exactly how many people are coming in, even though we do find out a year or two later. No, they won't tell us the real truth because none of these politicians know, or all of these politicians know, that should they tell us the actual truth, all hell's going to break loose. The game, the jig, as they say, will be up. And there won't be too much that those politicians can do about it except potentially run to the hills and hide in their very expensive and I'm sure well-protected bunkers that they've no doubt put in or had funded for them by those in corporations who've benefited from the largesse of the Australian people through their links to our corporate fraudulent foreign interlopers. You know, that bloke, this fella. There's more of them. You might remember this bloke, former chief health officer in Victoria. He caught up with former radio bloke Neil Mitchell, who's now got his own podcast, and sat down with him for a bit of a chat. Have a look at this.
Well, one of the most analysed, of course, is the hotel quarantine failures, which arguably led to over 800 deaths when private security guards were used in hotel quarantine and it escaped. But you weren't involved in that. You weren't consulted, rather.
Oh, I wasn't working at the time that public health order was made, but I'm not here to talk about public health orders, Neil.
No, fair enough. But I mean, is there a lesson there? Because we're all, what I'm about here really, and I want to go through some specifics like masks and that sort of thing, less controversial. But what this is about is learning the lessons.
Yeah.
What are the lessons we take out of it?
Oh, I think we'd say now that hotel quarantine, if we're needing a quarantine system that stops any infection getting out, it needs all of those Swiss cheese layers to be in place so that you've got multiple mitigations to prevent infection arising. But it's not like some of those weaknesses weren't present in a whole bunch of other places around the world or other states and territories of Australia.
Denise has got a good one here. I hope my air conditioner works this summer. Well, the problem with people's air conditioning working this or any other summer coming ahead of us is going to be really decided by whether or not you have a smart meter in your box, in your power box. If you have one of those, then it's capable of turning your house down. In fact, it doesn't matter what setting you set your AC to, say the lowest setting, call it 18, it'll show 18, but your air conditioner will be punching out 22 or 24 or 26 or whatever, because it will be limited for a certain amount of time every day by the company. Otherwise, there will be brownouts or worse, blackouts in certain parts of Queensland. Now, they've been doing this for a couple of years, and I'm sure they're doing it in other states as well, particularly those ones who keep knocking over their coal-fired power stations and pretending that windmills and pretty mirrored fields are going to help. They're not, particularly when the dimming takes full effect. What do you do when there's no solar to get power, or the wind blows too hard for your little fans to work? Well, they're not so little, are they? It's all just a huge con. When are we, the people, going to wake up to the huge con? You don't have to go down any other rabbit hole. All right? Forget everything else we think we know. This one, jump on it. It's easy. A logical argument. Why are you building wind and solar when you are actively modifying the climate so that you have huge windstorms where these fans will be of no use whatsoever, huge weather events with days and weeks in some cases on end where no sun gets through during the day. Everything is soupy in our atmosphere, dimmed. What happens then? Well, the Australian people are going to be pretty unhappy. Of course, the Canberra bureaucrats and the Canberra politicians will be sitting in their air-conditioned offices feeling quite fine about it all. And they'll have pre-planned excuses ready, have absolutely no fear. I was going to say Labor are always ready with an excuse, but that would be unfair. The Liberals and the Nationals are equally as adept at providing excuses. And the Greens, well, I don't know, they provide excuses so much as just lies about everything. So our summers are going to go back to what I remember as a kid, when there were certain transmission problems in the Wimmera and we would have power outages. You know, you'd only get power for certain times every day. Are we going to go back to that sort of living here in this country? I guess it'll make a lot of new Australians feel like home, because a lot of those folks living in various countries around the world do only get power for a few hours every day. Maybe that's why we're doing it, to help them assimilate. Do you think that could be the case? I don't know. Starseed, you've materialized out of the ether. I trust you are well. Yes, we are looking at the 3L Atlas coming into the solar system. And another 6 coming in now. Oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I haven't heard about the other 6, but yes, certainly the 3L Atlas anomaly, let's call it, is rather interesting. If you're unaware of it, folks, there is this very large rock that is making its way into our solar system. It's not acting like an asteroid. It's not acting like a comet. It doesn't look like a comet. And in fact, when they have been able to get a look at it, and bearing in mind it is still a very long way away, but it is moving very rapidly. When they were able to get a look at it, it seemed to have a reflective surface, which is certainly anomalous when it comes to asteroids and comets. It might have been ice glinting off the sun. Now, the problem we have with identifying it much more beyond that at the moment is that it is pretty much in pitch darkness. So it's being seen by radio telescopes rather than naked eye type telescopes. And they're doing some interpretations. However, it does appear to be doing some rather strange things, including changing direction without hitting something or having a force. It seems to be navigating, which is an interesting point. There are also, as Starseed pointed out, some other things coming our way, including an asteroid. They're sure it's an asteroid. They're pretty confident that it was going to hit the Earth at one stage. So a plan has been devised that could be put into action in as early as 4 years to fire nuclear warheads at this thing and try and divert it, a la, was it Armageddon that used nukes to split up a asteroid that was coming to Earth? One of them did, one of those sorts of shows. Don't know that it would work. Nobody does, but you've got to try something, I guess. The prediction of it hitting the Earth was 0.00081%, I think. But now they've redone their numbers. They think there's a 4% chance it could hit the moon. And if it were to hit the moon, there would either be a tremendously loud bell-like ringing that would go on for years, or you could find a sizable chunk of the moon gets ejected off the surface and into our atmosphere, which would be, well, a significant development for us, I would have thought, and probably a much bigger one for the moon. Watch this space. But yeah, the 3L Atlas rock, watch this space. It's going to come into or pass by Earth 17th of December from memory. So very shortly, it will come into the solar system and under the influence of the sun. Not to a point where it's going to change its trajectory, but the simple fact that it will be heated by the sun will indicate whether or not it is a comet or not. Comets, when they get close to a heat source, tend to have outgassings. Frozen stuff explodes, warms up. There's gas trapped in pockets in that ice. It explodes out. And this is in part what forms a comet's tail. So at the moment, they can't see a tail on the 3L Atlas anomaly, but that might be because it's in darkness. There's no light out there to reflect off whatever those ice particles and crystals would be in the tail. So let's not freak out just yet, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Tony, you're right. You better have a generator ready if you want to have air conditioning. To that end, we might be able to help you. Some of you will recall that I had a big generator for sale, and one of you bought it. Thank you very much. And then on-sold it straight away, which is even better. And it's gone to a very good home where it will be of great use, particularly during cyclone season. So I still required a generator for the bus because the onboard generator still hasn't been fixed. If you are in any way talented or know somebody who is talented in auto electrics or generator electrics, I have a WTA generator on board here, and I am absolutely confident that the problem is not with the engine of the generator. It is with a capacitor or a switch or something from the generation side. It is still putting out some volts, just nowhere near enough to run the bus. So I need that fixed rather urgently. And until that, I need to run a small generator. To it, I had to go and buy one. And by a strange quirk of coincidence, Vince and I may have had the same idea at the same time. And because they caught the bank on the right day, we may have been able to buy two of them. And I have no use for the second one. So somebody might pick themselves up a very cheap 3.5 kVA generator. If you would like help with that, let me know. Email me, carl@vofhq.com. They're a great little generator. I've got to say, I've pulled one out of the box, and it powers the bus absolutely magnificently with everything I'll ever need. It can do the same for you. And I'm running 2 fridges, all these lights and all these computers and all sorts of stuff, or a fridge and a freezer. I'm running. No, not the fridge and freezer. That's the other thing. The fridge and the freezer in this bus don't work. I've never been able to make them work. It is an old 3-way fridge. So I have a little chest freezer or a chest fridge that I've had in here. And just recently I got a freezer because it is nice to have a bit of steak, but it's nice to buy it in bulk and cut it up and leave it frozen so you can have it when you want it. Anyway, so that's the deal with that. If you know anything about 3-way fridges in motorhomes, but more particularly the other thing, I'm very keen to try and fix that generator. And I'm sure it will be an easy fix. If not, God, I don't even know where to go to try and get another one to make it work. But that's just something we'll have to deal with later down the track. Initially, this little Jenny will get us out of trouble. It's just going to have to live with me inside the bus while we travel because there's not a lot of room anywhere else at the moment. Oh, hang on. What's going on here, Pete? Did anyone see the National Heavy Vehicle Registration target figures for the future? Especially they only want 5-year-old trucks. But it's educational based. My God. 5-year-old trucks, eh? Well, I don't know. The last time I was in the market for a big truck, it was about $750,000, and that was the base model. There is a lot of money around for the right kind of people who want to invest in these sorts of things. But at the moment, there are so many Australian trucking companies with years, I mean historical type trucking companies going under because of bureaucracy in many cases, going under because the National Heavy Vehicle mob are absolutely ruthless, heartless morons. And I can speak from experience. I don't know if we've ever got into this. Don't know if I'm going to get into it yet. But I have experience with the National Heavy Vehicle Register and their incompetence, their true levels of incompetence, absolutely staggering. I think they play an important role when it comes to safety with heavy vehicles on the road. And I know that there are drivers out there who do the wrong thing. These people should be pulled over, should have the book thrown at them. And in fact, one of them was recently starred on the show traveling between Melbourne and Adelaide, or in fact, between the Victorian border and Adelaide. And we were able to track what happened to that bloke. He lost his license on the spot. The truck was left in Adelaide. They had to get another driver there. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that old mate was flown out from Adelaide directly back to the country from whence he came because he was of no use to the trucking company anymore. So a lot of that sort of stuff happens on our roads, and we need a bunch of people who will look after it. But we also need conscientious people in the administration of this kind of thing, because when they make a mistake, that mistake can be life-changing to the people they make it against. And I'm one of those people. And it certainly has been a life-changing event. They are unaccountable bureaucrats, and there is no justice through them. None. Sadly, we're working on it. We'll see what comes from it. No sound, says Vince. That must have been a while ago. Maybe it was the video I played. Okay, I'm just trying to read your comments here. Queensland's going to get very bad cyclones and storms, also tornadoes. Yes, we're expecting tornadoes this year, which will be fun. Black Sheep will be able to enjoy that when he gets over here in January next year, and plans on doing a lap. So, mind you, he's going to do a pretty adventurous lap from what I'm learning, but good luck to him. It's a beautiful country. You may as well get out and see it while you can. And the Hilux is being well tuned up for the trip, got a new rooftop tent on it. I would advise you go out, give that a bit of a test, mate, and you're going to have to waterproof it. When you set it up, waterproof it, leave it set up to dry, and then you'll be all good. Look at me telling you how to waterproof shit. I apologize, mate. You know better than me. That's an interesting one. The 10th century, the Chinese astronomers recorded a moon impact. It obscured the surface with dust for over a year. I saw an AI-created moon impact the other day. By the looks of it, looked like a spaceship coming into land and crashed. Lots of flame, lots of orange flame. That's a bit of a problem because to burn orange, a flame needs oxygen. Not a lot of oxygen in space. Just saying. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Any generator is a good generator. You're right about that, Denise. Yeah, sharp course correction. Yes, I believe it's the second sharp course correction we've seen out of 3L Atlas. It's very interesting. Call me when it starts to slow down. I reckon that'll be the interesting time when it starts to slow down. So 17th of December, it's due to come past Earth. And it's due to come past Earth at a fairly reasonable distance. I want to say it's 119 million miles. It might be further, it might be less. Might be 19 million miles. Anyway, it's reasonably close by space standards, and I'm sure someone will employ a flux capacitor to get a better look at it. Let's hope those drivers aren't dickheads. You got a Westinghouse gen set. Don't know what to do with it. It's too big to take with you. Get a trailer, brother. Oh, no. I know a man who can sell you a really cheap one that'll fit right in the back of the ute, just between you, me, and the gatepost. And it's just sitting here waiting for you. All right. Doesn't look like there's too much more in there. Oh, crunch. I've missed your first part. Let me go back and see if I can find that. No, I can't. You might have to send me an email on that one, Crunch, to do with the motorhome. So, yes, seriously, folks, if you do know anybody who can help me out with a auto electrician / generator person, this will be a generating issue, not an engine issue, a small engine issue. It's definitely something to do with, I don't know, the bushes. Do they have bushes? Do they have something that spins and brushes against something that creates, I don't know, whatever. There's something in that bit that's gone, I'm pretty confident. Mind you, I'm not an electrical type person, so you can't always trust what I have to say. I have been watching and hearing a lot of talk about the white hats lately, and I think if you are thinking that the white hats are all pure white and light and are always going to tell us the truth, you are wrong. The white hats are going to employ exactly the same tactics as the other side do to achieve their goals. And that is why there is so much consternation around Charlie Kirk's death. There has been numerous commentators coming out and offering up various different types of evidence about the incident, whether or not it was a faked incident or not. There are videos flying around the internet showing how you can get blood bags to go in necks and go under masks and all sorts of different things. There have been projectile specialists and weapons specialists come out and analyze the weapon that was used and the damage it caused. Most interestingly, from my perspective, a lot of video has been released of two gentlemen who came onto the scene after Charlie had been removed. But within minutes of Charlie being removed, two gentlemen came under that gazebo and started removing things. One of them stood the chair that Charlie had been sitting on up after he'd fallen off it, stood that chair up, and then proceeded to stand on the chair and started to unhook cameras, by the look of it, from the back of that gazebo hanging on the back wall and in a few other places. That entire area where Charlie was gunned down wasn't just stripped clean within hours, but the next day it was completely pulled up. The ground was pulled up and tiles have been laid over the area. It seems quite strange also that what appears to be some sort of a trapdoor is in the middle of all of that, but that might be just an AI creation at the end of the day. There have certainly been some interesting comments made after Erica and President Trump appeared on stage at the memorial, particularly her hand signal. And that has shocked many, many people. I'm not prepared to go out on a ledge one way or the other. I am going to be very interested in what happens. I think it's tomorrow when Megyn Kelly and Erica hold Erica's first show on Turning Point USA. Megyn Kelly will be the guest, but I believe that they're sort of doing it together. And it's going to be a very interesting show. I'll be very interested to hear what she has to say, and especially how she says it. It's going to be a pretty wild ride for the next few months, folks. And if Charlie's death is to be the catalyst that the world needs, as many people believe, then whether he's dead or alive doesn't really matter. The White Hats, if they have engineered this, have engineered a movement that is growing across the world. I am Charlie. And if that gathers the momentum that they hope it will be world changing. It will be absolutely impossible to beat. So yeah, I would be keeping an eye on this space. All right. I haven't got that much more to share with you tonight because I had a little bit of a well, it wasn't really an equipment failure. It was I told you, I think, that I blew up the power supply for the normal laptop that I use. It finally gave up the ghost. Well, bugger me dead, a new one turned up today. And I've plugged that in late this afternoon and started to put the show together. Unfortunately, I'd spent the rest of the day working on this laptop, and everything I'd saved for the show was on it. And that dawned on me about 10 minutes before I was putting the show together, and I thought, God, I've got to transfer everything off one laptop into the other one. So that's why we're a bit late tonight. So I will love you and leave you. I do know that you like to go home or stay at home, have your dinner now, or have a coffee, or go to bed, whatever it is that you do this time of night. But whatever it is, I make sure that you are being very safe doing it. And if you do have plans to get out and get on the roads, then please make sure you avoid those dickheads, because they are out there absolutely everywhere. And digital ID, folks. Digital ID is the thing we must avoid at all costs. And if that means we need to throw this government out of power, then that's what has to be done.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
One thing before you go. Trust me to forget all about it. I was talking about the mail earlier today, and I did get quite a number of packages. I got more of these. Thank you, Vince. They are absolutely spectacular. So to those of you who are waiting on orders to be filled, I have 10 more of these from Vince, and they'll be coming very shortly. But then I opened up another package, and I discovered these, which are the ones from Silver Fox. I'm just trying to get it so you can see. Now, these are a whole different build. The silver that you can see on there is actually a second, it's plastic. So not painted on like Vince's hand-painted ones. This is plastic. So that looks pretty bloody spectacular. I haven't put anything in them yet, but I will, and I'll be sending them out shortly. And there is one singular pink one, which goes well with my shirt. And I don't know, we'll think of something to do with that. Oh, God, try and get it where you can see it. But there is one pink one. Of course, they hold the 1/10 from Ainsley Bullion. We call them Byron Bobs. At the moment, they're worth just under $10 each. And if you would like some, then we would love to help you out with them. You can email me, carl@vofhq.com, and I'll send you an email back with the price. We will name the price on the day because at the moment, the way the price of silver is going, and let me just have a quick scan. It was at $66.70. It broke through $67. Was it early this morning or late last night? 66.68 at the moment. So it's hovering around that 66.5 and goes up to 66.90. I would expect, once again, it's going to go through 67. And I was talking to the folks at Ainsley Bullion today. And the advice there is, of course, if you can, go and get some because the price is just going further up. Go and have a look at the Ainsley news reports there too. Now, I just want to touch on Ainsley Bullion for 1 minute. I should have done this at the head of the show. I've been contacted by one of you, and I've helped many of you be introduced to people at Ainsley Bullion in the past. And I have never, ever had a complaint about the service that Ainsley provides. And that was until just before the show last night, where one of you rang me and screamed at me for 15 minutes about what shocking service that you had received from Ainsley Bullion. Now, I've had the opportunity today to hear firsthand what you did in that store. It's all on CCTV and it's all audio recorded. Why someone would choose to embarrass themselves in such a manner is completely beyond me. But I can tell you, you are now no longer welcome in any Ainsley Bullion building. And I don't care whether you ever turn me on again or not. Please forget my phone number and forget my email address. I don't want to ever hear from you again. You are not the kind of person that the Voice of Freedom engenders or likes to engender in our family. You are clearly not part of the family. You are using the Voice of Freedom and its link to Ainsley Bullion for your own purposes. And you have not been part of our family in any way, shape or form, other than to reach out for my help at any time you think you need it or you deserve it. Well, I can tell you right now, fuck off. You've received the last of my help. I will not raise a finger to help you again unless you are forthcoming with a very heartfelt apology to the 4 staff members that you did your party trick for yesterday at Ainsley in Brisbane. I'm absolutely embarrassed and disgusted that I recommended you into their business. And frankly, I hope you get out of their business and piss off to somebody else, because they won't deal with you again, and neither will I. I'm disgusted that people think they can go in to any business, and lord it over the staff. But particularly a business like Ainsley Bullion, where, from what I understand, you wanted them to change all their processes to suit you, when all the processes are in place to protect you for security. But because you felt you were special in some way, shape, or form, nothing was good enough. Well, unfortunately for you, I don't think anything will be good enough. And certainly Ainsley Bullion don't wish to offer you any more of their services. So good luck finding somebody else who will do for you what they could have if you'd have bothered treating them politely. I don't want to play, some kind of weird thing here, but I consider Ainsley part of our family. And I will not let any member of our family, be that you or them, be disrespected in such an horrendous way, particularly with the falsehoods that you were telling, the half-truths and the outright lies. Now, I don't know how many lies, half-truths and mistakes you made because you didn't take your pills that day. I don't care. You need to get your shit sorted. You need to go and get some help. You need to get on your medication, and you need to apologize. Nobody amongst us is going to advance any further in our existence if we behave like that. And I'm probably taking myself back steps by saying what I've done already, because we should take a little pity on you. We should offer a helping hand, but it's become blatantly honest and blatantly apparent that you will take. But when it comes to giving, you just know how to give shit. Well, good luck with that. Don't ever call me again.